up a spreadsheet. If you've got the one we're working on from yesterday, then you can open up that one. I'll just make a new one. Alright, so the first thing we're going to talk about today is cell references. So when we talk about spreadsheets, mostly they're used for analyzing numbers. It says formulas often require values stored in other cells to use or refer to a value in the cell. Type its cell reference in the formula. The formula looks in the cell for the value to use in the calculation. So yesterday we were doing an example of employee salary. So I got our employee's name, say hourly wage, hours worked, let's see, overtime, hours, and then overtime pay. So I'm just going to create some employees real quick. You got Bob, Jake, Steve, and Carl. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay, so once you have some data to work with, we're going to use a formula to calculate overtime pay. So we'll say that this company, we'll call it XYZ company, pays time and a half. So whenever we're working with formulas, you always put an equal sign first. So that tells the program that we're going to calculate something. Okay, then we can look at the cell. So instead of typing in 7.25 times, let's say 1.5, we're going to make it easier by typing in, we'll click on the cell that has the 7.25, which is B2. Okay, times 1.5. Okay. Then if we round that, then we'll get 1088. Okay. Once you have a formula in, then the program really comes into work for you. If you go to the bottom right hand corner of the cell, you get this black cross here, and then all you have to do is drag it down and it will calculate Jake, Steve, and Carl's overtime pay. Because what it does is, if we look at the formulas, okay, so I have the formulas pulled up, B2 times 1.5. The computer analyzes patterns. So when I drag it down, it would assume that the next one I'm going to calculate would be Jake's overtime wage. So it goes down C3 times D3, okay, or times 1.5. So the next one goes down to B4, B5. If we kept putting this in, if we added more people, okay, it would do the same thing. So if I put in another employee, okay, then it does the same thing. Another thing I'll talk about while I'm here right now is I have it formatted differently up here, and I entered something new. So instead of having to go back and type in Times New Roman size, whatever size it is, 25 or whatever, all you have to do is you have to highlight this, and you can click Format Painter, and then highlight the next set of data, and it will format it for you. Okay, so now we're going to calculate his total pay. So we'll calculate regular pay, and then overtime pay. So this would be overtime wage. And then we'll have total pay. Okay, so regular pay we need to find a formula to calculate that. So we know whenever we calculate something, we always start with the equal sign. Okay, so how would we find the regular pay? Okay, so we have our hourly wage times our hours worked. Okay, so if we find that one for the first one, then we can go to the cell, click on the bottom right, or put your cursor over it, and then when you get the black cross up, drag it all the way down, and it will calculate the rest of the pay. Okay. So then we need to calculate overtime pay. Okay. You can also do this by dragging it right. So when I dragged it right, oh no, that wouldn't be it. Well, you can do cell reference to that. If it was, if we had the overtime wage, and then we had some kind of formula for that, then we could pull it right. But to find our overtime pay, we would put equals, okay, then our overtime hours worked times our overtime wage. And then we can scroll down on that. Okay. Now we've just kind of done adding, subtracting, multiplying. As I talked about before yesterday, there's different kinds of formulas that we can use. So we'll go ahead and use one of these formulas here. Okay, so there's how much money we're getting paid per week. I'm going to move this over. To move over something, you get, you put your cursor somewhere in the box, and you'll get another cross, except this one has arrows on each side. So just put it along the right line, and you'll see a cross, and it has arrows pointing in all the directions. So once you have that, then you can drag it over. Okay. So now if I were to, we could put in some kind of taxes. So we'll put in, say, Medicare tax. Okay, then Social Security tax. And we'll say federal income tax. Okay. I'm just going to enter some numbers. These aren't the tax rates, but we'll say $10, $12, $15, $18, $23, 25, 24. Okay. So now if we wanted to calculate our total pay, we could do equals our regular pay plus overtime pay minus Medicare tax minus Social Security tax minus income tax. And then if we get paid bi-weekly, we could just put all this in parentheses and multiply it by 2. So that's how much we're getting per paycheck. You guys have any questions so far? All right. Okay. Cut, copy, and paste. We talked about this when we were doing Microsoft Word. So the format or layout of Excel is exactly like Microsoft Word. So the buttons are in the same places. Cut, copy, paste. The thing with Excel, the paste has a couple different options here. So if I click on K2, cell K2, and I copy it. So I right click, hit copy, and I want to paste it down here. When I click the paste option, I have all these different paste options I can do. I can paste the value, the formulas and number formatting, keep source formatting, values and number formatting. Okay, so there's a bunch of different things I can do. Now, if I paste just normal, and it's going to give me this sign. The reason it gives me this sign is because of the cell reference. So this right here had F2 plus G2 minus H2 minus I2 minus J2 times 2. So actually what we'll do is we'll paste it down here and give you a better idea. Okay, so if we look at what it pasted a formula as if we had numbers in here. Okay, so if I had numbers in here, then it would calculate it. But since there's no data, it doesn't calculate it. So if you were wanting to post this $400, you would hit copy, go up here, paste, and you would click on paste the values. Okay, so if I was talking about money, I could paste the values in source formatting so it would keep the dollar sign. Okay, we've already talked about the fill handle here, and that's what you use to scroll down to calculate multiple equations. So the example they give here is grocery items. They have rice, the amount of rice they have, and how much the rice costs. So they calculate that, and then they go on to the potatoes. So now if you were working, adding this up by hand or with a calculator, then you would have to type in, okay, if I were doing this with a calculator, I'd have to type in 180 plus, or times 5.20 and get 936. And I would have to type in 45 times 3.20. Okay, but with Excel, once you type in the equation once, then the computer will do the rest of the work for you. Okay, as I've said before, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, they're all pretty compatible. So we can copy data and put it in a Word document. If we remember when we were working with Word documents, we talked about tables. Okay, so we had the tables here, but you can also import spreadsheets. Okay, so I have a spreadsheet table here. Okay, so you can see that I just pasted a table in there. Then you'd have to work with the formatting to get it to fit to the page and everything, but okay. Conditional formatting. I'm going to make a new sheet. What is it?
Breakfast stuff.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
It's actually pretty good.
Did you make it? Hey, when's the chili coming?
He likes Trump. I like Trump and I like breakfast.
Okay. So I got Jacob, Austin, Jared, Ryan, Wes. Okay. So I got these people. These people are in my class. Okay. now we are going to do, I'm going to put in some test scores. So test 1, test 2, test 3, test 4. And then I hit equals random between, so it will generate some random numbers for me. So I'm going to put my low number as 55 and my high number as 105. We'll put some bonus on there. You put equals RAND and it should pop up. It should have that or ran between. I hit the ran between. So your lower perimeter is 55 and then I put 105. Then I scroll down and then I scroll across. Okay, now the one thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and below it I'm going to paste just the values. Okay, the reason I do that is because whenever you're working with something, say I hit in a formula up here. Look what the numbers did. They changed. So I calculated these and then I paste the values. So now I have generated data. I don't have just formulas. Okay, now if I wanted if I were going to do a retest for all students that got anything below a C, so anything below a 70, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight my data and go conditional formatting, which is up on the home tab. And then you're going to click highlight cell rules less than. The default is red text, so anything below a 70, we're going to have the student retake the test. So right here it gives me the data and tells me which students are going to have to retake the test. Okay, so Jacob's going to have to retake test 3 because he got a 67. Austin has to do test 2 and 3. Jared has test 1, 3, and 4. And Wes has test 4 to retake. So if we wanted to see who got an A+, we could do conditional formatting greater than 99, and you go over here to fill with green. Okay, so everyone that got an A+ is now highlighted in green. Okay, so if you're working with a large data set and you're looking for numbers, you can use conditional formatting to find certain data points, such as high numbers, low numbers, or a certain set of data. Okay, this has data bars in it, so we can calculate that. Okay, so now I'm going to calculate the test average. There's two ways you can enter the average. You can write the formula yourself, or you can click up here I'll highlight these 4 numbers, click on formulas, and go to auto sum and scroll down to average, and it'll calculate the average for me. Then I just scroll down, calculate it. We can also do the individual test averages. Okay, so it looks like students did the best on test 1. Okay, now if you click on the conditional formatting and go to data bars, it shows you where each student ranks, kind of. So Ryan had the highest up here at 95, 90, 81, 79, 72, and 71. So that kind of gives you a representation instead of just seeing the numbers. It gives you a visual. Okay, adding graphics. We talked about clip art and inserting pictures in Microsoft Word. Same thing applies to Excel. You can also insert charts, which we'll talk about later. Charts have its own chapter. We just go to insert, clip art. Okay, my last picture was a blizzard. Okay, this time instead of using an actual blizzard, we use a ice cream blizzard. Okay, I think we talked about how to rotate graphics. You click on the green top button, you can rotate it. Click on the sides, you can expand and despan. So exactly like Microsoft Word. Hyperlinks, we talked about that as well in Microsoft Word. Website and email addresses show up with this blue line underneath. Okay, so I put in my email address, and when I click on it, it would pop up if we had our Windows email connected to our computer, but since we use Gmail, it doesn't come up. But if you were to have a website, okay, I clicked on it, school website pops up. Protecting worksheets has security options just like Word did. Okay, so you go up here to review, protect sheet or protect workbook. And it has different options you can go into.
Oh, right now. Well, I'm talking capital, no, thank you, some of you know that,
Next, we have reviewing the worksheet. Once again, Microsoft Word has the same options, spelling, thesaurus. You can comment on the Excel if you're editing it for a client or a classmate. And then you can also track changes. Okay, and then the last part is track changes, so you can see that. If you were working in Google spreadsheets and we were doing a class spreadsheet, then you could see each individual change that each person was working on. So if I made a mistake and Samantha caught it and she went in and fixed it, we could see that. It would say who changed it, when they changed it. So I think Google does a little bit better job of that as collaborating, since it's all web-based. But Microsoft does have some options to track changes. But I think that's one place where Google kind of beats them at. So that's it for all this. Tomorrow, what we'll do is we'll start an activity together. We'll go through it. We'll practice entering some formulas. And once we do a practice, then I'll let you guys try to create some spreadsheets on your own, and we'll just go from there. Any questions on anything today?